What's up, deep divers? So glad you're back with us. We're going to be talking about a story in Matthew chapter 2, verse 13. It is a great story. If you have your Bible, open up with me to the book of Matthew. If you don't, pause, go get it. You're going to read with me. But this is what it says in Matthew chapter 2, verse 13. It says this. It says, when they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, he said, take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him. So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod, and so fulfilled what the Lord had said through the prophet, out of Egypt I called my son. Here's what's so cool about this story, is that in the middle of the night, an angel appears to Joseph and says, hey, listen, get up, go to Egypt. And some of you are like, what's the big deal about that? Well, here's what you need to know, is that Israel and Egypt don't mesh, okay? Like, they are not singing Kumbaya one another. They have history. They have beef, okay? They're not getting along. And so for an Israel family to come and live among Egyptians, it's not going to go well. So when Joseph hears this, he's probably like, okay, like, all right, angel. Not only does he have to then travel and live in Egypt, but then he has to take a mom who's living in an environment that she doesn't know, and then he's also taking a toddler and putting them in an environment that's probably not the safest environment to raise a family. All because the dad said, I want to protect you. Because God is sending this angel to say, hey, I'm doing this for your protection. I'm doing this because I want you to listen to me because I know what's best for your life. It kind of reminds me when I was about 4th or 5th grade, I wanted to play Survivors because the TV show Survivor was blown up. We used to watch it as a family. And I remember one day we were playing the game of Survivor. It was the middle of summer, so it was a little bit hot, it was a little bit dry, and me and my brother had two different tribes, both playing with one of my cousins, and my other cousin was in the back, and there's two different teams. And the challenge was basically to build your fort, to basically get your camp ready, because if you know anything about Survivor, it's about surviving. And what do you need? You need shelter, you need water, and you need fire. Those are like the three basic principles. And so we're kind of figuring out how to play the game, how to build a fort, how to maybe get water, how to start a fire. And I know some of you know where this is going, but stop, okay? Let me tell the story. And so my brother comes out and says, see what I've made. And so my cousin and I, Jeremiah, we go to the backyard and he's built a tree house. I mean, he's got the wood from my dad's construction job site and he's made shelter and he's got it set up. And me and my cousin Jeremiah are like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to get ahead of them? So we go back, and as we go back, the garage door is open. I see matches. I'm like, ho, we've won, okay? And as we go back, we see that there's dry palm fronds, the leaves. And so we see these, we kind of break them up, we put them around, the little rocks, and we make our campfire, and we just, get the match, and we light the palm fronds, and we're like celebrating because like we have fire, right? We're doing like ooh ha, the fire dance, right? And then as the palm fronds starts to light, we kind of feed it maybe a little couple more branches, and it gets a little bit bigger, and smoke starts to come up, and and then there's another tree right there, which you don't really think about these things. You don't necessarily process these things. I'm just competitive. I want to win. But this tree starts to catch on fire, and it starts to go a little bit higher, and now it's not just white smoke, but it's like starting to turn to black smoke, and it's starting to get a little bit unsafe. But my brother runs around, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I have fire. And then he yells the words that you never want to hear, okay? Mom, Dad. And I'm like, oh, they're going to be so proud of me. Like, I've started a fire. They're going to be proud of their son. Dad comes up. He opens the door, and he's like, ah! He grabs the hose, sprays it down. And I'm like, you ruined it. Like, what are you doing? And at that moment, I realized, like, what is he doing? He pulls me inside. He sits me on the black leather couch. I'll never forget it. And he's just like, do you know what you've done? And I'm like, no, what's the big deal? Like, why is it bad? And he's like, Hayden, like, we don't start fires with dry palm fronds, and we don't start them in an environment in the dry season of fire. And I'm like, I don't get it. Why? And my dad is trying to help me understand that he is trying to protect me. But I didn't get it. I didn't understand. I'm like, what's the big deal? Matches? Okay? I'm a 4th and 5th grader. Sounds like a great time. And my dad sits down and he tells me, like, no, like, we don't do this. And I bet you Joseph and Mary, and to the point where Jesus probably raises up and they're like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Why should I listen? Why should I follow? Why should I continue to go and listen to the angel of the Lord? Here's what I want to encourage you in is sometimes we follow Christ and we may be obedient in Christ and we don't understand. And we're questioning, I don't get it. I don't understand. What's the big deal? But you need to know that when we follow Christ, it's not just so that he obeys the rules and he wants us just to follow the rules, but simply because he wants to protect us from any harm, from any danger. And that is why we should follow and trust God, even when it doesn't make sense. Have a great day.